What's up, everybody? Gluten Free Chicken episode number 5 this week features Nora Bird. She's one of our aerialists. Super talented human being, an amazing person. I had a blast hanging out with her. Talked about manifestation, hung out on the lake. Yeah, Gluten Free Chicken episode number 5. Dude, this thing's like sporty and cool. Oh, wow. Alright. That's my safety restraint.
Yeah, I got gloves too. I gotta wear. These were Carrie Joy's gloves, so they have good energy in them. Oh. Alright, are we headed to the Dragon's Lair?
There. Okay, how long have you been teaching?
Oh, I've been teaching for about 20 years. But I've been teaching the pole. I'm a national pole champion. And Justice had this beautiful Merkaba built out of poles. It looks like a 3D Star of David. And I was like, Justice, it's made out of poles. Let me on it. I'm self-taught. There are only 2 that we know of anyway in the country. One has been used by Tammy Firefly. She performs with string cheese and she does fire inside it, and she's a contortion. She's really bendy and just beautiful in it. Since I do pole, I do tricks on it. I move on it a little differently, and I love it.
20 years ago, you started doing pole. What was the genesis of that?
Well, back then it was not mainstreamed. Back then it was in the strip clubs, and I was working in a strip club. And I was a classical ballet dancer, and I looked at the pole and I thought, oh my God, this is ballet in the air. And I flipped out. It was so exciting. And back then it was a new sport. Not many people were doing it. And so we were creating our own moves. And at that time, there was a competition that started, and it's national, and it includes Canada and France. And we would all compete. So they had a magazine, and they would take pictures of our competitions. So the next year, people would be doing my tricks that I'd made. And at first, I was really mad, and I thought, no, wait, this is great. This is a sport. This is the way sports are. And it was very exciting. The best part about competing was meeting the other women, because we shared a love of doing pole and performing on stage. And so we actually brought it out of the club. And it's interesting that my manager it was her baby to have the competitions in the first place. So it became popularized through the magazine and through the competitions. It got more and more attention as an art form and a sport. We did bring it out. We brought it to conventions and things like that. It is mainstreamed. Now men and women are doing it. It's an international sport. And we're trying to get it in the Olympics. It almost made it last year.
Do you know what the origins of pole dancing are?
I'm not really sure what the origins are. That's a very good question. I know that for me, doing it and doing dance, doing art and performing was very instrumental in me becoming empowered. That affects every aspect of your life. It was a really beautiful, wonderful gift. And so as a teacher, to get my students to perform, it's my main interest for them to find their self-confidence and to feel empowered, and to take that away from the class more than anything, because that's what I got from it.
Anybody who hangs out with you for 10 minutes can see the strength that you have. And it sounds like you have quite a story from in the clubs to coming out to being a teacher. Why did you start dancing in the clubs in the first place?
I was trying to pay rent. I had a little baby's father, and then my other roommate both lost their jobs. And we were really desperate for money. So it was all about money and survival at that time. And being that I'm an empath and extremely shy, it was very, very difficult. But I'm telling you, the strength and the confidence that I got from it is a huge gift. I would not trade the experience ever.
There's this Chinese proverb that I love, and stop me if you've heard it, about the rancher. There's this Chinese rancher, and he has a horse. And one day the horse runs away, and now he's poor. And his neighbor comes over and says, "I'm so sorry for your loss." And the rancher says, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" The neighbor's like, "What? Okay." And he goes home. The next day, the horse comes back, but he's got a whole bunch of other wild horses. And now the rancher's rich, right? He's got all these horses. And the neighbor comes over and says, "Congratulations on your windfall." And the Chinese rancher says, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" And the neighbor's like, "What? That's so weird." And so the next day, the rancher's son is out breaking the horses. And he gets bucked off of one of the stallions and breaks his arm. the neighbor comes over and goes, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for your son getting hurt." And and the Chinese farmer again says, "Who's to say what's good or bad?" The next day, the military comes through with conscription for all able-bodied men, but the son can't go on what is surely a suicide mission because he broke his arm. Who's to say what's good or bad? Sometimes the things in life when you're just like, oh my God, this is the worst thing that's ever happened to me, is the genesis of your strength. Do you think if you would have never been confronted with that, would you be the strong, amazing, vibrant person you are now?
I've had many experiences that I could say that which does not kill you makes you stronger. Yeah, absolutely. For me to be able to feel comfortable with my body and to feel good about myself and find my strength, it was the last part in my healing from a difficult childhood. And I'm not sure I could have gotten there another way.
You said you started off as a ballerina.
Yes.
Tell me that story.
Okay. I was a classical ballet dancer. I was a child actress. I sang jingles for like Tonka Toys and Yo Play Yogurt, Golden Grams, and Nature Valley granola bars and all that kind of. I sang those. My brother found one recently. He's like, he played it for me and my brother Jimmy just recently. He's like, is this you too? And we were singing for Oreo cookies. And we're like, yep, that's us. I don't know how he found it. This was a long time ago. I was doing a musical at Chanhassen Dinner Theater. I did Finian's Rainbow and Showboat, and the ballet dancers were marveling at how flexible I was. And they suggested I take dance, and I did, and I loved it. I was very serious. I took 11 classes a week. I took point. Parents wouldn't drive me to class, so I took a bus and I bicycled. I taught myself there.
So the acting came first.
Oh, my parents are professional actors.
And you grew up here in the cities?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you do the silks as well?
Spinning silk, where you tie the silk into a loop. They call it a hammock. And I had somebody below give me a direction, and then I would spin. It started spontaneously one night. I was already a national pole champion. And Wookie Foot performed at the Quest on New Year's. And they had this really soft, fat fisherman's rope tied in what looked like a noose, a loop, and Jojo would swing out over the audience and back onto the stage. And at intermission, I was looking at this going, I bet I could do pole tricks on that. So I climbed on it during intermission and started spinning around doing tricks on it and started performing in front of a packed room, and it just became a thing. Okay, the Merkaba, this belongs to Justice Draconis. We are in the Dragon's Lair. Is a beautiful performing arts studio owned by Angela Higgins and Justice Draconis. They teach silks. We've got a lira. This is the Merkaba. We have a cube, a trapeze, and many other goodies in this studio. Miss Luna teaches belly dancing, and she's phenomenal. For anyone who likes to belly dance, come take belly dancing class with Luna at the Dragon's Lair. Justice and Angela are wonderful. They provide an opportunity for their students to perform, which is why I really enjoy teaching with them.
Of the different toys that we kind of saw today, which one's the easiest to get into, like, right off the bat?
I think the lira. It's easy to get into, and yeah, you have a resting point where you can sit. For the difficulty, it's debatable pole versus silks, because I think silks people are more strong. Pole requires more skills in terms of not just learning the trick, but learning how to finesse a trick, how to use sticking to the pole to turn your move and rotate around. There's a lot more to think about when you're on the pole. But again, on the pole, you have a lot of resting points where you're sticking. On the silks, you don't, unless you've wrapped yourself. So it takes an enormous amount of strength. I know what a first moment is. I can tell you about a recent moment, though.
Okay.
I needed to find a place to live, and I needed a place where I could just be. I wanted it to be peaceful. I wanted it to be by the lakes, by water. There were other things I needed in my life. I needed a car really badly, and there's things I wanted. I wanted a kayak, and I felt overwhelmed. I felt really overwhelmed because I thought, I have to do this quickly, and this is a lot to try to look for a car and look for a place to live and all the money and all of that. And my friend said, wait a minute, Nora, relax. You don't have to go do anything. She said, draw it to you. And I thought, oh, you're right. So I meditated on it, and I thought about what I wanted and what I needed. And within a week, I had a place to live. I had a friend call me and say, hey, we've got a room. Would you like to move in here? And I've been dying to move into that place. Yes, I'd like to come live there. 3 blocks from the lake, by the water. They had a couple of kayaks we could use in the garage. I'm helping my friend move the same week. And she says, oh, you need a car. I'm like, yeah, I know, desperately. She goes, well, my boyfriend's selling a car. Why don't you take a look at it? It's a little VW Beetle. I thought, I really don't want a Beetle. I have no interest in even looking at that car. But thinking, she's like, no, just test drive it. And then I saw the car, and cuteness outweighed all other considerations. It is the most adorable car I've ever seen in my life. It runs like a dream. It's a turbo. It's got kick. And they gave it to me for $1,000 less than their asking price. So it was in my range, what I was looking for. I had just manifested everything that I needed. I didn't have to go to it even. It all came to me.
Nice.
I wanted to be around creative people. I'm a performer.
Right.
I also have a huge interest in science, and it turns out the people I live with are musicians. We also have a scientist, can talk to people about all the things that I like to talk to them about, and I have this creative energy around me. It's thriving and peaceful. We all have our own space. We connect on wonderful ways and get along beautifully. Being that I'm an empath, I pick up the energies of people around me. So I recharge when people are feeling good and I'm around them. It makes me feel really good. And when I'm around negative people, I absorb that. So in order to shed that, I do things like I'm physical, or I'll meditate, or take an Epsom salt bath, or take some quiet time for myself and put good energy into myself. So sometimes I have to be alone to recharge. But I definitely like to surround myself with people who are easy to love, who are kind souls and loving, and put out peaceful, good energy. I'm always out performing. I'm in the center when I'm performing, and then when teaching, I'm surrounded by people. Teaching feels good in that way too. My students are so excited about doing something fun and new, and feeling beautiful, and feeling strong and good about themselves, and feeling creative, that it's a joy to teach. And even when I go in and I'm tired, I'm like, God, I don't know if I really want to teach tonight. I always leave feeling energized.